Hello, good evening, and welcome to PM Express. My name is Nana Ansakwao. Today we are talking about Galamsey and the menace that it's causing the nation. Now, small-scale mining was once a respected traditional vocation. When the government officially legalized the practice in the late 80s, it brought to the fore some challenges, including the mechanism by which the government granted mining concessions to peasants. Today, illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, has become a major source of livelihood for persons living around legal mining communities, and this has raised several challenges not only for the communities but the government at large. In the past few months, the mining industry has witnessed the arrest of unauthorized miners, especially illegal mining operations being increasingly embarked upon by Chinese nationals in Ghana hinterland. This incident has even led to the shooting and killing of several indigents as well as other foreign miners. As if all this was not enough, the country's mining sites has also witnessed several pit collapses, which has led to the death of many energetic young men and women in the country. Against the backdrop of all these issues, in the mining sector, President John Mahama on Tuesday set up a 5-member ministerial task force to flush out illegal miners in the country. Tonight on PM Express, we host the chairman of the interministerial task force, inaugurated by the President Mahama, to flush out illegal mining activities. He's here to walk us through their core mandate and what they hope to achieve at the end of the day. The process they will be going through to salvage this situation, and the possible suggestions also will come from Imani. Kofi Bento will be representing Imani, but he's not here yet. But to my immediate left is Alhaji Inusa Fusaini, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Alhaji, welcome. Alhaji Ansakwao. That's it. Alhaji, what's your core mandate? This the G team, as I call you, the Galamsey team. What's your core mandate?
Thank you so very much, and good evening to your viewers and listeners as well. Basically, our core mandate derives from the statement the President made when he gave his State of the Nation address in Parliament sometime at the beginning of this year, when he said that illegal small-scale miners operating in the mining fields in Ghana will be flushed out.
Okay.
And most particularly foreigners who are so engaged in this activity, precisely because the laws of this country reserve exclusively the small-scale mining activities to all the Ghanaians. Mm-hmm. Second mandate actually is to ensure that equipment that are brought into this small-scale mining sites illegally are seized. Okay. Thirdly is to ensure that Ghanaians who are facilitating, abetting the presence of foreign nationals on our small-scale mining sites are dealt with. Fifthly, to ensure that the district assemblies who are the primary owners of the lands on which these mining activities are taking place are roped in. Mm-hmm. Responsible for the acts of small-scale mining. And lastly, to generally restore sanity into small-scale mining activities by expediting action on applications for small-scale mining licenses.
Alhaji, which of these categories don't already exist that you are now going to do them?
All these categories exist. The good thing about the interministerial committee is that for the first time, the president recognizes that this activity cuts across various ministries, and that in order not to duplicate actions, it's important to pull together all the ministers who have something to do with the land, who have something to do with security, who have something to do with the minerals, to work together in concert to be able to put an end to this problem.
Why, as a nation or as a state, have we not done anything about it till now that has become almost out of hand? To the point where the president has to constitute this ministerial body to go and check. What caused it?
Well, I would not say that as a country we've not done anything about it. Probably what we have been doing has not been quite successful. I mean, if you cast your mind back to the 1980s, even before Galamsey small-scale mining was legalized, you will recall the random battles between the military and the small-scale miners in Takwa, Pristine, and other mining places, where it was an affront to the laws to engage in small-scale mining. Now, it's precisely because as time went on, the government of the day realized that small-scale mining had the potential to contribute tremendously to the economy of this country by providing employment for the many people who had chosen that as a vocation, and two, could help to reduce poverty. That the government then, in 1989, legalized small-scale mining. Now, even after the legalization of the small-scale mining, there are people who simply do not want to go through the processes to obtain a license. They will go onto the lands with impunity and conduct their activities without recourse to the regulatory mechanisms that have been put in place to ensure that small-scale mining is conducted in accordance with the guidelines of the license. And now and then, you will find government engaging with people who have taken the law into their own hands and engaged in this illegal activity. The matters have come to a head because of the influx of the Chinese.
What are the numbers of people involved in illegal mining?
Well, it is estimated that between 1 to 2 million people in this country are engaged in small-scale mining.
But small-scale mining. No, I'm talking about illegal.
Illegal mining could be somewhere within the region of 1 million. Yeah.
What are the alternatives for them? Once your task force is successful and we get 1 million people off the forest and they come into the towns, what are they coming to do?
No, we're not getting people off the small-scale mining sector. We are getting foreigners off small-scale mining. And we're encouraging Ghanaians who are desirous of engaging in small-scale mining to regularize their acts.
So you basically would want to keep 2 million people digging the earth, only that they should come and register?
We basically would want 2 million people to have their actions regulated by law.
Do we need 2 million people digging up and down concerning our environment, the trees, the pollution and everything? Do we really need 2 million small-scale miners?
We might even need more than 2 million people engaged in that activity.
Are you sure?
Yes, provided their activities can be regulated. You see, small-scale mining is not new in Ghana. Our forefathers, the Nananum, our ancestors,
yes,
they knew of Sukakoko and they did small-scale mining. They did it with a pickaxe and shovel.
Yeah.
They could go to water banks when the rivers receded and pick nuggets of gold. So they knew. I mean, you read the famous stories of the Ashanti Empire and the Denchira Empire. You will read, you come across recordings that...
No, see, before you go, our ancestors... you see, before the Bible came, and I'm a chief, so I'm going to go. Before the Bible came, we believed that man was as equal to nature.
Yes.
The Bible teaches us that man is above nature and let us subdue it. Now, maybe it does not mean that literally, but we really do not respect nature today. If you look at the pollution of rivers and water bodies today, it tells you the total disrespect we have. If you legalize 2 million people, say, oh, just come and regularize, get your license and go out digging, don't you think it's going to be worse than what it is?
Nana, I belong to the school of thought which says that man is equal to nature. Because I believe when the last tree dies...
But not the average guy digging on the road.
Well,
or digging in the forest.
And that's why we are different. And that is why some have been chosen to lead. And that's why you have to affect people in ways that they will also appreciate that man equals to nature. For instance, man equals nature because Etiwa serves as catchment area for 3 water bodies in this country.
Yeah.
Tremendous water opportunities for millions of people. Etiwa forest holds tremendous mineral resources. They will say because Etiwa has mineral resources which will allow people to get into the forest.
And they nearly
degrade
did.
it.
They nearly did.
They are always trying, and we're fighting them. Because immediately you allow them to go, you are not only compromising the ability of present generations to live on the water bodies that serve many a community, but you're also compromising the healthy environment of the future generations.
I still think the reason why 2 million people are out there in the jungle digging away is because there is an alternative. Some of them have finished SSS, some of them have finished DSS, and they would have wanted an opportunity to do something else. And they don't choose Galamsey as a first option, but as a survival means. 2 million people digging up and down in the forest is too much, by all accounts.
No. Let me tell you that small-scale mining serves as a tremendous opportunity for people to get employed.
No, 2 million is too much.
No, I'm telling you. Let me develop the point, and you come to understand. There's no greater number of people who will get involved in that activity. Which number of people will be said to be too much? What we are complaining...
No, not when the environment is concerned. When the environment is concerned, it can be too much.
What we are concerned about is the degradation of the environment that characterizes the activities of these people. It's not about the people being involved, but the activities on the land. Can the activities be regulated? I say yes. Can they conduct activities, small-scale mining, in such a way that they inflict minimum?
I say no.
I say yes.
I say no.
Because it has happened. It's happened all over Africa. It's happened not only in Africa, it's happened outside Africa.
Give me one example in Ghana.
In Ghana, I'm not talking about Ghana. Ghana, we are still fighting because we're trying to get our acts together in such a way that we can sanitize small-scale mining. But it's happened in the
Alhaji, you were telling me that there's an illegal miner in the forest there, and you tell him after you finish digging, plant a tree, and he's going to say, yes, after I finish, I'll plant a tree, and he'll do it?
It's possible.
It's only on paper.
No.
Not practical.
No. Even now, legal small-scale miners are doing alternative livelihood programs and planting palm trees in many places.
I see.
Now, you see, what we are talking about is creating an opportunity for people to voluntarily enter small-scale mining, conduct mining in accordance with the guidelines and laws, reclaim the land, and still make the land available for other users. And that is possible. That is why we have the universities training people in geology, training people on how to mine, so that they can provide technical services, advices to people who are engaged in small-scale mining.
Universities training the 2 million people digging up and down the countries?
No, you don't need 2 million universities going. These 2 million people are uneducated people. Most of them are uneducated people.
And
what I'm saying is that
therein lies our problem.
Knowledge exists for you to train people on appropriate measures or appropriate means of mining without degrading the environment.
We're going to move to the foreigners aspect, but so what measures are you putting in place to reach these 2 million people in the jungle to make sure that they reclaim the land? What method are we going to use? Radio,
the 2 million people, not all of them are degrading the environment in ways that are attracting the attention of the country.
80% of them are? 70% of them are?
We will not even say 80%. It's a percentage of them have taken the law into their own hands, are digging the places with impunity, are not reclaiming, and that is what has caught the attention of this country. That is what has raised hue and cry about the pollution of our water bodies, and that is why we have to fight them.
Are you saying that those who are polluting water bodies are primarily those who have not registered?
Primarily. That is the word, primarily. Because you see, when a small-scale miner is registered, his activities are regulated.
I saw on TV yesterday, and there was a minister going round, and I think they were supposed to be doing the activities 100 meters away from the river. But these guys were all registered, they had all their certificates, but they were very close to the river.
Yes, and then that brings us back to regulation and enforcement, supervision of this implementation of the certificate and enforcement.
If you came to me in the jungle and I was digging, and Alhaji said, hey, Nana, where's your license to dig and your site plan? I said, yeah, there you go, that's my site plan. How do you know that this site plan is not for this room and it's for that room or that room? How do you know?
Yeah, so So
I could have a side plan and I'll be digging somewhere else.
No, it doesn't happen that way. It's because people decide to go and use it. I mean, first of all, they don't even get side plans. They get any document, go show it to people who are willing, who are gullible, and then they allow them to dig. But first of all, even before you apply for a license, you must lodge an application with the district assembly for a period of 21 days.
Let's move on to impunity, out of which, you know, some foreigners just troop into our countries and absolute disrespect us, our laws, our land, our very fabric of existence, and still get along and get away freely. How does it happen? Because we have embassies in China, and indeed they have to apply for a visa before they come here. And when they get here, there are laws, there are police, there are everything. And I know my own institution, I'm sure you will attack me very soon, because our own chiefs are the ones that will give out the land, so we are all part of it. But how do you solve a problem like this? The guy comes through China, gets through Kotoka, comes to my village, comes to see Nana Ansakwa, I give him a patch of land, there you go and dig. How do you solve this problem?
Thank you so very much, Nana. And I'm happy that you are a chief and you clearly have located one of the problems that that is confronting this country in terms of the ownership of mineral resources. Now, even this afternoon, we had a meeting with the Chinese delegation that arrived from Guangzhou, and this is exactly what they said. They said, Nananum, Nana. Now, the Nanas gave the people the land to dig. And so, yes, it's a real problem. And that is why, as part of the implementation strategy, the Interministerial Task Force is seeking to replicate the task force in all the mining districts, and also rope in as many people, stakeholders, I call them, as possible. Because many people have bearing, I mean, their activities have bearing on the land, and insofar as we fail, neglect, or refuse to regulate the activities of small-scale miners, then we will be compromising their ability to live on the land.
Imagine, is the truth of the matter not that the average Ghanaian has got this preconceived idea that somebody with a lighter skin is more of a superior human being, and that our overwhelming hospitality, you know, sometimes we even increase it if they have a lighter skin?
No.
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think superiority complex is here. I mean, is at play here. Simply, people who are greedy, selfish, avarice is playing out here. Just this afternoon, it emerged that those Chinese who are on our small-scale mining pits are from rural communities in China, especially in the eastern part of China.
$800 a year from where they come from.
They probably do not even earn $800 a year. Yeah. I mean, from the way the people were explaining. Somebody has thought to...
But however, when they come, the chiefs, some of my colleagues think that, hey, Obroniaba, so they have to have the best of accordance, they have to have the best of lands and all the hospitality. I'm not saying, I'm not preaching xenophobia. I'm not preaching xenophobia. All I'm saying is that this is our land and there are laws, and regardless of where you come, you should be able to abide by it. But they don't. And they get away with it.
But to generalize and stereotype the situation would be to cause an injustice to many other chiefs who have stood up.
Boy, that's why I said some. That's why I said some.
Yes, so because just this afternoon I was reading a petition to my office from a group of people from the eastern region around Prayasu, and they stood up against the presence of Chinese on their lands. When I went to Dunkwa, after the accident at Tijaure, the people of Amofo in the Deba told me that they have always resisted the presence of miners on their lands because they know that land supports cocoa cultivation and also supports the water systems.
Is that the exclusion or is that of many? Because if that is of many, then you will not have formed this committee that you have formed. It's because many of us are not standing up against such illegalities. And that is why it is necessary for the president to form this community to try and stop it. So the people who are standing up are way too few.
Yeah, but that is the light. That simply shows you that there are people who can stand up and say no to mining activities in our communities.
I agree, but I'm saying there are way too few.
That it is worth educating people, just like using your platform to educate people to understand that small-scale mining or illegal small-scale mining can be curtailed if we, the people of any community in which there exists the possibility of mineral resources, can stand up to those people. So we are using this platform to say it's possible. Collaborate with us, the community-based organizations, partner government, to stand up to these people. Because if we don't, we will be compromising not only our future, but the future of our children.
I just want to take you back, just to have it clear in my mind. So all you were saying is that roughly about the 2 million people out there who are mining without a license should come forward to come and get a license to go back and mine.
What we are saying, the 2 million people include foreigners. Foreigners cannot come and get licenses to go and mine.
How many foreigners do you reckon? 500,000? I don't think so.
Well, I
maybe
don't
about
know
100,000.
I don't know that number. But whatever be the case, the 2 million people include foreigners. And using your platform, let's tell foreigners that they are not welcome in small-scale mining activities in Ghana.
And I'm sure everybody would agree with you on that. But you see, what I am trying to get to is, once we narrow it down to find out how many numbers are there to come and get the new license, let's half it. Let's assume half of these people are Chinese and Nigerians and that they're going to go back. They all abide by your rule and they go back. So now we have 1 million standing Ghanaians who are digging illegally. And now they are coming to get a license to go back to dig. I am telling you, it's detrimental to the environment. By all means, detrimental to the environment.
Yeah.
1 million.
You can say that because, I mean, in the literature, there are people in the literature who argue like you're arguing. Seriously. I mean, so I'm not surprised that you're arguing that way. The literature is replete with people who say, no, there's nothing good that can come from small-scale mining.
No.
And and even in the literature, again in the literature, you will find concrete evidence, demonstrable evidence, that small-scale mining, when properly regulated, can serve as a means to reduce poverty in communities that mining takes place, can create avenues for employment for people, and can still make the land on which the mining takes place economically useful.
Alhaji, I believe that a properly regulated small-scale mining industry will be very, very beneficial to Ghana because these are Ghanaians. They will take their money and spend the money in Ghana, and they'll probably be better than the Newmonts and all these big boys.
Yep.
But all I am saying is to have 1 million standing army digging in the forest for gold, it's very detrimental. Already, we've depleted our forest reserves. And we have fast destroyed 285 waters, either poisoned, diverted, polluted, dried up. We've destroyed our waters. So 1 million, people digging because they have a license. I am saying that we as a state have been very, very lazy in job creation. That's why we have this problem.
No, we are not.
Because
we're creating jobs, and the state again recognizes that small-scale mining is one such opportunity in this country to create jobs. What we must be doing, clearly, is to organize small-scale mining in such a way that people who enter small-scale mining can voluntarily exit. And that is possible.
To where? There are no industries, there are no...
It is not a requirement that you have industries before you can create job opportunities.
Well,
it's not.
Well, how else?
No. There are many, many jobs that can be potentially created in the service industries in this country or service business in this country. There are many. What I'm saying to you simply is that, Nana, assuming that young men from your village organize themselves into a cooperative, decide to go for a small-scale mining license, enter into the business, mine in accordance with the laws of this country and the guidelines of the license, are able to extract gold to the maximum, sell the gold and make money, then don't you think that these people can move to other sectors of the economy, can move to transportation, can move to trading, can move to hotel business, being hoteliers? Can they move? It is just that we have not yet successfully integrated small-scale mining into the rest of the economy. The linkages of mining to other businesses is so immense. When mining activities is taking place in the community, get to that community and see life. Because of the integration, women are able to sell food to the miners. People are able, commercial activities are able to take place in that community. But because we have not made it yet sustainable, and that is why we have this problem. Two, the problem, again, why many people are moving onto small-scale mining sites without recourse to the laws that require the persons who want to do that to obtain a license, has come by reason of two facts. We call them the push and the pull factors.
Stay there. Guys, it's getting heated, it's getting interesting. We are talking about the menace about Galamsey, and I have with me Alhaji Yusuf Hussaini, who's the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. As they say, we're hearing from the man, the organ grinder himself. We're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, I am sure Mr. Bentel is going to join us, and it's going to get even more exciting. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back. Oh, it's getting heated here. It's getting more exciting. Kofi Bentel from Imani has now joined us. Initially I was talking to Alhaji Yusuf Hussaini. We're looking at Galamsey, the menace, the troubles. How are we going to clean up this industry and let us all live happily ever after? Is it even possible? But let me just say, Kofi, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Before I bring you in, I'm going to Alhaji. Alhaji, do you have a record of how many waters have got too much cyanide or too much mercury in it? Do we have that record?
Not yet. Not to my knowledge.
But there are waters that have got too much cyanide and mercury in it around us due to illegal mining.
Well, I don't know of the record yet, but I know that the turbidity levels of water bodies in this country have increased. The level of sand or mud in the water have increased, and that the clarity of water has been compromised. I'm not able to tell whether there is cyanide or mercury.
Kofi, there are about 2 million people digging up and down the country for gold. My argument is that even if they were regulated, there are too many people in that industry. And that maybe it's because there is not an alternative. It's an easier option. Because you finish school, the banks are choked, the hotels are choked, the ministries are choked. Where else do you get a job other than get a pickaxe, a shovel, and go and dig? If you're lucky and you meet a Chinese man who's got capital to buy an excavator, then you're even lucky, you dig even further. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. What's your position?
You're right, to the extent that it's the best option for those people. Okay, and we have a fundamental position. Do not put an impediment in the way of a person who is seeking to work hard to make an honest living. So if this is the best option for them, in principle, we are not against it. But the point is, at what expense? So you don't go off and say, oh, I'm unemployed or I need work, so I'm going to dig up somebody's backyard and throw cyanide in the water and create problems for other people. Okay. But then again, the arguments about, so what should they do? We don't entirely buy that. Our issue is this. If we have gold in the ground, if there are minerals in the ground, and there are ways to mine them safely, even at a small scale level, then it is a failure of regulation if that place is that disorganized. Okay. And our position is from the base that we have enough people paid at the district level, at the regional level, and at the state level to be able to handle this thing. All right? So if you take the Western region, how large is the Western region? We have an army base there. We have police people. We have district chief executives. We have deputy ministers. We have ministers, and they're all running around. And my issue is this. If this has become a national crisis, when did this start? And why has it gotten to this point? And if it has become a national crisis, what are these people who we are paying doing, which is more important? For which reason they can't go and take care of these things, right? People can give you many excuses, but my issue is that, look, these guys want to work. And this work is really hard and dangerous. Okay? Our theory, our hypothesis is that if there was good enough and clear legislation or regulation, they will comply. The problem is that if you go down, and maybe the minister will tell you, there is so much corruption and collusion in that whole industry. And that is where we have a problem with this task force. They are going to become another layer of corruption, like we've seen with so many task forces all over. Okay, not just in this government, but previous government. So our point is this. We have insufficient laws to deal with this, frankly. We don't need any new laws. We have sufficient people. When they tell you about lack of resources or whatever, my question is, how many people are on payroll and what are they doing? And if this is a national crisis, why are they not dealing with it? Okay, so frankly speaking, yes, we don't have jobs. Okay, but still, that is not a good enough reason for people to go off and pollute. And that is where the state comes in, the government comes in. And my contention, or our contention, is that enough money is being spent in the minerals area. We are collecting royalties. The companies are doing corporate social responsibility. We are making so much money. All right. So we should be able to deal with this thing at the state level at least.
Hold it there. Alaji, how many people on the payroll and what are they doing? I mean, that's a significant question.
Well, I'm surprised Mr. Kofi Benteles argued this way. Because everybody who is on government payroll is on government payroll to do a specific function. Now, to be able to invoke the jurisdiction of the military to go onto land and keep Galamsey, you need action. You need a directive. You need leadership. To be able to invoke the jurisdiction of others who are not directly charged with the responsibility of providing supervision for the mining activities in the mining areas.
But why don't you charge the people who are directly responsible?
Which people are directly responsible? Because when you talked about the numbers, I thought you would say, oh, Minerals Commission, for instance, in the Western region, have X number of people. Because they, Minerals Commission, by the Constitution, Article 256(7), are directly responsible for regulating the sector.
Aren't they the ones giving out these licenses willy-nilly? Because you see people digging. I mean, I have a friend building a hotel, and next door to the hotel is the guy's got a license to dig for gold. So are they not part of your problem?
Well, I thought that we were first of all looking at the institutional mechanisms that are put in place to regulate this, and to assess the adequacy of those institutional mechanisms. You must do a realistic checklist to be able to arrive at definitive conclusions on whether or not we have the requisite numbers. If we make general statements in the nature of what Mr. Kofi Benchil is doing, then we just, it's like, well, so everybody in Ghana is paid. So everybody in Ghana must go. Apart from those who are in private business like him, so anybody who is on government business must abandon the offices and go and fight Galamsey.
That's not fair. That's not a fair.
No, but I'm not saying that that's what he says.
No, he's not asking doctors to go and supervise Galamsey.
Oh,
but I'm sure by all means there are some task forces, there are policemen, there are commandos who are waiting for us to be invaded by Togo.
What I'm saying
and Togo
is
not going to invade us, so they could help us.
Let's make it simple. There is a regional minister who has executive authority to deal with issues within the region. Look, I can bring what he's talking about, but frankly speaking, he has to have that information, not me. And he has to give it to us. We are talking about institutional mechanisms and all those other things. Are we dealing with a national crisis or not? All right? Do we have a regional minister in the Western region? Do we have a deputy regional minister? Do we have a national security coordinator? And if he's talking about giving directives to the army or whoever, what does it take to give that directive? Okay? We sit around in this country and we always act as if there is nothing we can do about anything. And when there's a problem, we make a new law, or we set up a commission, or we set up a task force. And I can give you a list of task forces. They constitute the same old problem again. So my point is this. We can go through the issue of how many people are employed to do this. That is why we are where we are. Okay? Now, is the minister telling me there is nobody in the district, and every place in this country is in a district somewhere, there is nobody in the district in charge of the environment, in charge of mining?
Is it bad to start now? Because you and I
don't have a problem with starting now.
You and I somehow have contributed to it directly or indirectly.
I'm not part of the contribution to this problem. And it's time we hold our leaders to that level of performance. Okay? We all can't go and live in a castle and run the country. There are people paid to do these jobs. All right? If you're saying start now, no problem with starting now. All right? But you will find, like we know, that the systems are there. somebody is just not making them work. Somebody is just not making them earn their salary. And when we have a problem, we sit around and talk about the institutional mechanism. If it takes the army, what does it take to give the army the wherewithal or the instruction to go and do this job? And I'm saying that the minister should tell me that in that district, we've been mining in the Western region for 300 years. We don't have people in the district in charge of mines. The licenses are issued at the Minerals Commission. That's something we have a problem with at Imani. We've written about it. In fact, in last year's paper we put out, The Threat of Decay, we specifically mentioned this problem, that we think that when it comes to ownership and taking charge of people's lands, the licenses should go down to the level where the action is. There should be a way where those people can take better ownership. Part of the reason why the Chinese are gaining ground is because, for your information, what we've gathered is that this, according to the people on the ground, some of the local people, one of them said, this is the only time mining has led to a benefit of the local people. This is the only time mining is bringing them money in their hands. Because when you give it to the big companies and everything, the money comes back one way or the other, but it's not clear to them. The Chinese are giving them money. Now, I'm not saying it's good, but what I'm saying is that this whole issue of decentralization, this whole issue of getting serious about getting power down to the lower level so that people do things at that level and then they are supervised is seriously important. Not getting that right is why we are where we are. Okay, so if the minister is asking for me to bring the list of people who are employed and whatever it is, frankly speaking, it's the same old problem again. We are going to dance around the issue and then the thing is going to get worse. Is he saying there's nobody at the district? What are the people in the regional whatever doing? And I'm not saying they are not doing anything, but I'm saying this is a national crisis. It's gone on for over almost a decade, and now we've reached epidemic proportions. And we're having conferences with the Chinese. All right? My point is, if for nothing at all, there's a regional minister with executive power acting on behalf of the president, who can and should be taxed to report in 2 months on what he's doing. Because the Western region is not the biggest place in this world. And we know those places where they are. Fly over the area, you will see where they've dug. So I worry about action. Okay? And if I'm particularly not happy with asking the military to do things, frankly. Okay? But if that is what it takes, my question to the minister is, why has it taken this long?
It has not taken this long. Before you came, I gave a chronology of how the country has been dealing with small-scale mining. And I'm sure if you have done a little research on what we have been doing all these years, you would have realized that even in the 1980s, they were running battles with small-scale miners. In the 1990s, we continued. The presence of the state cannot be found everywhere. It is simply not possible to deploy the mechanism, the cohesive power of the state at all places at the same time. That's why there ought to be new thinking. We have identified stakeholders. The chiefs are stakeholders. Some of them are collaborators, willing collaborators, because they believe, like you have said, and rightly so, that this is the only time that they are getting direct benefits to the land, to the mineral resources. But that is a direct challenge to the constitutional framework that governs natural resources in this country. The natural resource governance regime vests absolute authority, absolute ownership of natural resources in the president to hold in trust for the people of this country. Chiefs have only usufructory or surface rights. They can use the land for farming. They can use the land for residential purposes. Anytime minerals are found in the land, then the authority that has power to grant permits for anybody to mine has to exercise that power. And that is why we are saying, yes, and I agree with him, nobody will say, let's ban small-scale mining. That's why I told you, it should be possible for any group of people to enter into small-scale mining, properly regulated, and voluntarily exit. You need the communities to understand, to share in the value of what you are trying to protect. You need the communities to buy in and understand that if you are going to save water bodies, it's not because you like the beauty or the meandering nature of the water, but because it's a value to many other people. And when they pollute or allow others to come from China to pollute, that after the water bodies have been polluted, they leave. You need people to stand in and fight before even the military or the police arrive. That is what we are seeking to create. That is what is going to be different with this task force. That is why I believe that any well-meaning Ghanaian who is abhorred by the presence of illegal miners in our water bodies and forest areas must join hands with government to fight it. Because we have a responsibility to promote intergenerational equity. And that is what we are doing. That is exactly what having meetings with Chinese is not conferences. We know that being a part of the International Committee of Nations, we have diplomatic relations with China.
Alhaji, if the reverse would have happened, would the Chinese have called you?
The reverse?
If there was a river called Guangzhou River, and Yahweh J and Kwame Usu and Amasewa went to Guangzhou River and polluted it.
We didn't call the Chinese. And if there were a river in Guangzhou that Ghanaians were mining illegally and Chinese were arresting them and keeping them in their prisons, I'm sure that would have motivated the authorities in Ghana to respond to the cries of the Ghanaians, not to go and defend them. The Chinese came to engage us to see how their nationals can go back to China. And we told them precisely what they must do. Just as we expect that when Ghanaians are in China flouting the laws of their country, they have primary responsibility to protect, safeguard, and enforce the laws of their country. And we intend, as a government, to enforce the laws of this country against any foreigner who is violating the laws. But we appreciate our limitations. We cannot do it all alone. We believe that there are stakeholders, and these stakeholders must partner government to be able to do it.
Bro, we are dealing with poverty, all right? And, you know, the rural folk who allow these things.
But before you go, government cannot do it all alone.
Now, why cannot? You see, we have these assumptions we make. Minister just said the power of the state cannot be deployed everywhere at the same time. Galamsey is not going on everywhere in Ghana.
Kofi, how many policemen do we have? Probably 8,000. How many army? 15, 20,000 army to police 25 million people. By all means, there's limitation somewhere.
I'm telling you
if
that
there are 2 million people digging up and down,
is not going on everywhere in Ghana.
There are 2 million people digging up and down the country. 2 million.
Now, this problem has been with us for about a decade plus, and it's reached epidemic proportions as we speak. All right? It's the same kinds of arguments that were made about, oh, you know, the state is not capable. Meanwhile, we are going to form a task force. These people are going to be resourced with the resources that should go down to the people who are already there. And, you know, take the timber task force, okay? Take the textiles task force, the run-of-the-mill situation, and mark this, let's come back 1 year. We will still have Galamsey. It will not change in any way necessarily or significantly. The members of the task force who will be resourced will start fighting turf wars with the regular security, the district assembly and the regional assembly members, people who are supposed to police this, because you have two power forces dealing with one problem. And just like it's happening with the timber task force, and everybody knows it, they will constitute another band of corrupt people who will start seeking rent from the people who are doing the Galamsey and now become another problem themselves. So my point is this.
Mr. Kofi Benton,
no,
rent-seeking activity cannot be curtailed by pessimism. You cannot be pessimistic.
I am talking
to
about
rent-seeking.
What has happened to the
can
timber
only
task
be a
force?
guide. Doesn't become a solution.
It's guiding me now.
Doesn't be a solution.
It's guiding me now, and I'm telling you, mark it and let's come back here after 1 year. And the point I'm making is
we are very hopeful.
Well,
we are very hopeful.
Hope is good.
Yeah.
In fact, my organization is called Imani. Imani means hope.
Yeah, we are very
My
hopeful.
point is, mark it, let's come back in a year's time. Why can't we resource the people who are there supposed to do the job and let them do their jobs? Their negligence.
Sorry.
Honorable, don't you have a regional minister in Takrady? And I guess he's busy, but what is he doing which makes it impossible for him to deal with Galamsey?
Okay.
And why can't we subsume the task forces under them? Kofi, if you're going to raise a new army of people, raise them and give charge to the people who are in charge on the ground, so we don't have these power forces now fighting. What has happened to the timber task force?
Alhaji, are we going to use the police that we have in the regions now, the army we have in the regions now, or are we going to constitute a new task force specially for this mission?
When we had our meeting this afternoon, we decided that it is important to replicate the task forces in all the mining districts in this country and charge them with the responsibility of being proactive. That mining activities take place over a long period of time. That where they are unable by their collective force to deal with illegal mining in their districts, they can then call on the National Task Force to be able to deploy men. 3 months ago, the National Task Force that went into the field spent close to 3 million Ghana cedis. Such an activity clearly cannot be sustained over a long period of time. And that is why we see the determination of government to bring in many people. And this task force is just one such important first step towards holistically dealing with this matter. Last week, I was out of the country. I engaged with people who enjoy special technology, who we are discussing with, to see whether we can be able to access their facilities, to deploy it in Ghana, to see where small-scale miners are at any particular point in time. So
helicopters with heat-sensing cameras, or?
No helicopters. No helicopters. Drones.
Drones?
Simple drones. Very cheap drones that can be powered by electricity. Deploy them, you should be able. We're looking at all the options. We are doing this because we firmly believe, indeed, it's founded on deep conviction that what is happening is totally unacceptable.
So basically, my point is, well, when the drones finds me digging, all I have to do is just come and get a license and go back and dig.
No, you don't. First of all, if you are digging without a license, you have committed an offense. That doesn't entitle you to come for regularization.
So then that rules you out.
That rules you out. That will attract a penalty. If you commit an offense and you are arrested, you don't go regularize your offense. Doesn't happen anywhere in this world. So what we are saying is that we need to locate people committing this offense timeously. We need to know where all these people are at any particular point in time. Indeed, to be honest with you, a confession, if you may say, until I flew in a helicopter around Dunkwa, I did not fully appreciate the magnitude of the problem. Why? Many people, most of us travel by road. Until you are crossing the river and see the water body, polluted, you are unable to imagine the extent of the degradation. So these things happen. People probably in Dunkwa might just see a small portion of the degradation that is taking place.
Alhaji, once I have you here, when the movie came out, Django Gold came out, you reacted, and it looked as if it was the first time it's ever happened. But I think it was only the first time they actually documented it on video. And indeed, it lives with us day in, day out. But just that these guys came and did a documentary about it, it wasn't an exclusive. It was just that they were just more, impunity or whatever it is to film it. But then it happens every day. But your reaction felt as if it was an exclusive and that, this is news to us. But
first thing, whatever happened, it was the first time anybody could come to Ghana and exactly what I've been saying since I came here and flouted our laws with impunity. If you come to this country to do a documentary, you are required to go through the processes. But mind you, my reaction was not about the documentary. My reaction was simply pointing to the fact that if these people are found on small-scale mining sites in Ghana, we will arrest them. That's what I said.
It's not the first time. And like you're saying, it's just the first time they documented it.
Yeah.
Right? But if you look at, even if you watch that movie, they tell you about how, it's a known fact that there's gold in the ground, and they know when they come here, they can pick up $1 million easily. Okay, so it was strange for anybody to say they didn't know this was happening. And like I'm saying, this has been going on for more than a decade. Alhaji says he flew in a helicopter and he saw the people mining.
I saw the degradation.
The degradation. Okay, I keep saying that even in West Africa, Ghana is not a big country. All right? In a day, you can fly over the whole of Ghana. So it's nice to have drones, okay? You're not going to create another layer of complexity. Get yourself into a helicopter and fly over the Western region. If it takes you 1 month to do it, do it. All right? There are people who have aerial photographs of this country, and we can choose to have aerial photographs in 1 month. They'll all be there. You know where the things are. In any case, the people who go into the mines drive on roads. The chiefs know where they are. The district chief executives know where they are. They work with Ghanaians. If we want to solve this problem, we will solve it. If we want people who are paid to do their jobs, they will do it. If I was in any position of power, I'll give the people there 2 months to report. And if there is any of those things found in the area where you're the district chief executive, you lose your job. How hard is that?
That is not hard at all.
It's probably part of the tax force. It's probably part of your tax force.
Yes. COVID probably you didn't hear.
Yes.
You didn't.
You're talking drones.
Okay, no. You came in a bit late. So yeah, but this is exactly what we said.
Oh, you're talking drones and everything.
No. It's a conversation developing.
Okay.
And we are not looking at a one-stop solution. You are looking at a holistic, sustainable solution to the issue.
Which I agree with. And you know what I'm fighting against? I'm fighting against
Guys,
this sense
let me just go through this quickly, and then I'll come back, and then we all round up.
It's really bloated.
Because we just left it alone.
Let's get in this. But guys, let me just remind you, Blue Rose is saying that they got beautiful and affordable houses for all you guys out there. And these houses are nowhere near any Galamsey pits. I can trust you that. For 50,000 cedis, you can get beautiful 2-bedroom houses. They are located at Bodumbram. And if you want to give them a call, it's 020-202-9622. As 020-202-9622 or 030-2241-459. And that's Blue Rose Limited. You're still watching PM Express, and we literally overran our time because it's just getting heated. But I'm going to go back and get closing comments from everyone and see what is the way forward. I will start with Kofi. What's the way forward?
Way forward. Tell the people in charge of the regions and the districts that, please, we have a national crisis on our hands. People are digging up our earth and polluting. If it happens on your watch, you will lose your job. This should become your #1 priority, and make sure that you deal with it. One, because if it's immigration laws, there are immigration laws. If it is environmental laws, there are environmental laws. If it is people doing whatever they are doing, there is sufficient provision in law and power to deal with this. So just empower them at the pain of losing their jobs.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
And you have the final word.
Let me assure Ghanaians that 2 weeks ago in Prestia, the president did indicate that precisely because the whole country has been divided into districts, and each parcel of land or any parcel of land at all that we have in Ghana falls within a particular jurisdiction of a metropolitan, municipal, and district assembly. And that the district assemblies, the chief executives of the district assemblies and the district security councils have primary responsibility in ensuring that mining, illegal small-scale mining, does not take place in their communities. And indeed, that the ability or inability of a district chief executive or a DISEC or any appointed officer at that level to stop small-scale mining will be one such important benchmark of performance.
Thank you very much. Folks, it is a collective responsibility. You, me, particularly me and my folks, we who are first to dish out the land and then jump and say our waters are being polluted. We should all come together and protect Ghana, our lands, our waters, our forestry everywhere. You've been watching PM Express. My name is Nana Ansakwa. We'll be back here tomorrow and start it all over again. Thank you.